We're here with Police Chief Greg Suhr from San Francisco. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get right to sort of what everyone is talking about these days, and that is with the events in Ferguson, the militarization of certain police forces, proper protocols for interacting with unarmed people, etc. Tell us about what San Francisco has in the way of military-grade equipment, and what are the protocols that you guys have around when it is appropriate to use?
Well, we do have things that we've gotten through the surplus program. In fact, just recently we got some forklifts. I don't think anybody would accuse us of militarizing the forklifts.
What do you need forklifts for?
Well, we have a lot of things that we move around. Some of them are big and some of them are heavy. We have pallets, but also, you know, we have ballistic vests for protection. We have night vision because when we're working at night. And then we do have two vehicles that we've had for a long time that are only brought out on an as-needed basis for an operation, for instance, to get between an active shooter or to get an injured person out, and we've had those for many years. And
those vehicles are sort of the, you know, Humvee-looking type vehicles, or tanks, or what are the?
No, one of them is called a Saracen. It's a six-wheel thing that we've actually had since the 90s, and then the other one's called a Bearcat, and it has like almost like a cup in it that a person could be in that can get you to a high position to get somebody out, but it's protected, it's ballistically protected. So we have had them out before, but again, it requires a deputy chief's authorization to get them out. We don't just drive them around.
Well, for example, in San Francisco, we had a large Occupy presence for a while, a few years ago, and that was sort of an incident of sort of civil unrest, and it was dealt with really well by the San Francisco Police Department. Tell us about what you did differently there than what they did in Missouri.
Well, again, I wasn't in Missouri, so I don't want to second guess anybody. And Occupy was definitely a different situation. Here in San Francisco, we were the safety officers. We deliberately didn't want to be the lead. It wasn't an active civil disobedience where people's safety, it was an Occupy, right? So actually, Department of Public Health, Department of Public Works, the Fire Department, Animal Care and Control were actively engaged, as were we, but only as the safety officers to make sure everybody in the encampment was safe. And then when it got to the point where it was starting to impact people coming and going, and there were health hazards and there'd been whatever, then it was brought to an end.
But in doing so, you didn't, if I recall correctly, there weren't sort of tanks or people with gas masks or other sort of really frightening things like we saw in Ferguson.
No, we try to engage whoever we're working with to try and do it cooperatively. And I think that in San Francisco, the want by our public, if you will, the people that we work with, regardless of whether they're necessarily feeling the police or not, is we just want to facilitate whatever's going on and be sensitive to the issue that's being put forward.
Now, my understanding is we've got the Office of Citizens Complaints, and that's a civilian oversight committee that deals with allegations of police misconduct. There's also the Police Commission that sets policies and deals with some certain types of police misconduct. How important do you think that kind of civilian oversight is to keeping community relations on the right track here in San Francisco?
Well, those are certainly the two formal bodies. I mean, the Police Commission is a civilian group that sets policy and then also oversees discipline that's brought before them. And then the Office of Citizens Complaint was actually brought about by a charter amendment that does look into and investigate alleged officer misconduct. But to suggest that those are the only two groups of civilians that are looking into things that the police department does, I mean, we are constantly under the microscope. We're actually pretty comfortable there. We want to do it right. We want to do it the way the city would have us do it, and I think we do it as well as anybody.
Now, 9/11 anniversary is coming up. I understand that you and you and Fire Chief Joanne Hayes-White will be throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game?
Yeah, you know, I mean, very sadly what happened at 9/11 when we lost 3,000 Americans and hundreds of police officers and firefighters. This is a time coming up that everybody really does show the world, if you will, that we remember. And certainly they remember all the firefighters and police officers that lost their lives. And the Giants have been great every year, especially that first year when we did the flag and the whole thing. So they've invited the fire chief and I out there, and I hope I don't embarrass the police department, because I'll tell you what, the fire chief's a nail when it comes to sports.
Oh, excellent. Well, we will be watching. Thank you so much for being here. For Bay Sunday, I'm Melissa Griffin-Cane.